When most Americans think Mormons, they think Joseph Smith and Brigham Young. But legendary folk hero Lot Smith is one of the American West adventurers whose life has been all but lost in the annals of time. Lot arrived in the West with the Mormon Battalion during the Mexican-American War. He remained in California during much of the gold rush and was later a participant in many significant Utah events, including the Utah Mormon War, the Walker War, and the rescue of William Martin handcart companies, and even joined the Union Army during the U.S. Civil War. Significantly, Lot Smith was one of the early settlers of the Arizona Territory and led the United Order efforts, the Little Colorado River settlements. What follows is a brief sketch of Lot's service in the Mormon Battalion and the experiences that shaped him. Lot Smith was a frontiersman and early Mormon church member, noted chiefly for his military exploits connected with the Utah War. He lived for nearly 3 decades in the Davis County town of Farmington and led a colonizing mission to Arizona in the late 1870s and 1880s. He was born in 1830 in Oswego County, New York, to William O. and Rhonda Huff Smith. He was baptized a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints as a youth and was part of the Exodus from Nauvoo, Illinois. At 16, he was said to be the youngest member of the Mormon Battalion, with which he made the entire march to California in 1846 and 47. He participated in the California Gold Rush and brought to Utah a modest grub stake in gold dust to help establish himself. In 1849, he rejoined his family in Farmington, Utah. At Farmington, he served 1 term as county sheriff, emerged as an officer in the Nauvoo Legion, and acquired a considerable reputation as a livestock man. In 1857, he outshone more famous figures Orrin Porter Rockwell and Robert Taylor Burton in leading a militia force against the supply trains and livestock of the approaching Utah expedition under Albert Sidney Johnston. Burning several wagon trains and seizing 1,400 animals, he was instrumental in forcing the army to winter near Fort Bridger. Later, under an appointment from President Abraham Lincoln, he commanded a volunteer unit guarding the telegraph line in northern Utah and Wyoming during the early part of the Civil War. Like many Mormons of the era, Smith was a polygamist, taking in all 8 wives. Although he was reputed to have an explosive temper and to be harsh with his wives and children, his was a close family characterized by loyalty in intrafamilial businesses, associations, as his sons and daughters matured. In 1876, he led a colonizing mission to the Little Colorado River in northern Arizona. For this pioneering adventure, his decisive and hard-bitten character proved to be both a boon and cause of friction. He quickly confronted jurisdictional problems related to Brigham Young's sometimes ambiguous assignments. At sunset near present Winslow, Arizona, he became president of the Little Colorado Stake as well as president of the Sunset United Order, in which he was the dominant figure. He built large herds and bred excellent strains of horses, but also quarreled with his fellows over distribution of property, contributing to much of the disputed settlement of the Orders of Affairs in 1886. Enmity lingered for generations among the families of the participants. After 1886, Smith's associations with the Mormon community cooled as he increasingly devoted his energies to ranching in Tuba City and elsewhere in northern Arizona. Yet, by inclination and the fact that polygamists had little other recourse, he remained a committed Mormon. During his last years, relations with his Indian neighbors became increasingly tense as the rangeland around Tuba City was overgrazed. In 1892, Smith shot several Navajo sheep that had been turned into a meadow that he had fenced. A Navajo herder in turn shot several of Smith's cattle. Finally, the two exchanged shots, with the result that the old Mormon was mortally wounded. He was buried near the contested pasture. A decade later, his remains were returned to Farmington, where his grave became something of a symbol of the Mormon pioneer as frontiersman, soldier, and a epic frontier Indian fighter. Yet another Utah frontiersman instrumental in forming the state was Orrin Porter Rockwell. Orrin Porter Rockwell was a frontiersman, Utah pioneer and plainsman, and reputed Mormon known by the name of Destroying Angel. This controversial and colorful figure was characterized in newspapers and journals of his day as a notorious gunman and religious zealot. He was born in Belcher, Hampshire County, Massachusetts in 1813 and was one of the early converts to the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. As a settler in Jackson County, Missouri in the mid-1830s, he was caught up in the so-called Mormon War of 1838, in which Missourians acted under an extermination order issued by Governor Lilburn W. Boggs, drove the Mormons from the state. It was during this turbulent period that Rockwell became identified with Danites, a band of Mormon stalwarts who organized for the defense of fellow church members against their antagonists. In 1842, Rockwell was accused of the attempted assassination of Boggs, the man who had ordered the expulsion of the Mormons 4 years earlier. Boggs survived the shooting, and after months in Missouri jails, Rockwell was freed when no indictment was brought against him. It was on his return to Nauvoo, Illinois, where the church had relocated, that Rockwell became the subject of an astonishing prophecy by Mormon leader Joseph Smith on Christmas Day of 1843. Smith said that as long as Rockwell remained loyal and true to his faith, he need fear no enemy. Cut not thy hair, and no bullet or blade can harm thee. Joseph Smith's death at the hands of a mob at Carthage, Illinois, spurred a Mormon exodus from Nauvoo. It was during this time of upheaval that Rockwell shot and killed Frank A. Worrell, who was menacing Hancock County Sheriff Jacob Backenstoss. Rockwell had been hastily deputized only moments before the shooting, a fact which made the incident no less sensational when it was learned that the dead man had been a militia lieutenant in charge of protecting Joseph Smith when the Mormon prophet was assassinated the year before. The Mormons, now under the leadership of Brigham Young, crossed the plains to Great Salt Lake City. Rockwell was one of the territory's earliest lawmen and deputy marshal for the provisional state of Deseret in 1849. When President James Buchanan appointed Alfred Cumming to replace Brigham Young as Utah's governor in 1857 and ordered a large contingent of U.S. troops to escort the new chief executive to his mountain offices, Rockwell was among the number of Mormons chosen by Brigham Young to carry and harness that Utah expedition, which Young considered nothing less than an invasion by a hostile force who were evidently assailing us to accomplish our overthrow and destruction. In November 1857, Rockwell was involved in an attack on a half-dozen Californians known as the Aiken Party who were attempting to reach U.S. troops wintering at Fort Bridger. 20 years later, Rockwell would be indicted on 2 counts of first-degree murder in the deaths of John and William Aiken. By the spring of 1858, Brigham Young agreed to amnesty terms offered by President Buchanan, and the Utah expedition, commanded by Brigadier General Albert Sidney Johnston, proceeded to establish Camp Floyd south of the Great Salt Lake City. After the outbreak of the Civil War, Colonel P.E. Connor, who was ordered to Utah with the California Volunteers to protect the mails from Indian depredations, hired Rockwell as a guide and scout for the infantry and cavalry in an action against the band of Shoshones at Bear River near present Preston, Idaho, in January 1863. During his lifetime, Rockwell attracted the curious and celebrity seekers and the myth makers. From journalists to authors and world travelers, he was known as well as Brigham Young. He became a legend as a rough and ready frontiersman, a scout, a marksman, and a man of iron nerve, and a man of unswerving loyalty. Orrin Porter Rockwell died of natural causes on the 9th of June, 1878, in Salt Lake City, while awaiting trial on the Aiken murder charges. Rockwell's notoriety followed him to the grave and grew unencumbered by the fact, and the Salt Lake City Tribune editorialized that he participated in at least 100 murders. He has remained in the eyes of the public one of the best known and earliest Mormons to settle Utah. Well, that's it for this video, guys. Thank you for checking out the channel. If you like this video and videos like this, please be sure to hit the subscribe button and share it with your friends. And always, remember to get out there and explore. Thanks for stopping by, guys. Take care.
Here are some interesting facts you might not know about Utah, according to Nancy Tallman at InsideParkCityRealEstate.com. 1963, when Park City Mountain was still known as Treasure Mountain, an innovative approach was used to transport skiers to the slopes. Using old mining tunnels, the resort employed subway cars to cart skiers through a 2.5-mile journey within the mountains to the slopes. The ride was pitch black, cold, and wet, and lasted about an hour. After the ride, skiers used a mining elevator that lifted them 1,750 feet to the base of the Thames Canyon ski lift. This unique mode of ski transportation undoubtedly added an extra layer of excitement to the skiing experience. Did you know there are still over 1,000 miles of mining tunnels beneath Park City's mountains today? Park City's history unfolds around the completion of the Transcontinental Railroad in 1868, which took place at Promontory, Utah, when soldiers drawn by the allure of silver stumbled upon this promising locale. The rush for silver sparked a flurry of activity, leading to the incorporation of Park City in 1884. The town quickly burgeoned, and by 1898, its population had soared to 7,500. A number not too far off from today's population. More tourists than locals. According to the 2020 Census Bureau data, Park City's population was recorded at 8,396. Notably, a tourism-heavy economy means the number of tourists often significantly surpasses the count of permanent residents. Salt Lake City has been named the preferred host for the 2034 Olympics by the International Olympic Committee. Voted Best Town Ever, Park City was voted Best Town Ever by Outside Magazine in 2013. In a remarkable show of local pride, 2/3 of Park City's population enthusiastically cast their votes online, underscoring the strong sense of community and appreciation for the town's unique qualities. The High West Livery Building is built in the old National Garage, which once serviced the shoes and horses that pulled the ore carts up the mines. Park City proudly boasts the distinction of being home to Utah's first distillery since the end of Prohibition. Although High West's current whiskey distilling operations have moved a few miles away to Wanship, the original building in Park City has been repurposed into a bar and restaurant. Renowned for its exceptional whiskey, this establishment also proudly touts itself as the world's first ski and gastropub. The store also made it on our liquor store's secret blog. This lady has a secret blog of liquor stores. Interesting. I would check out Nancy Tallman. Trails are tops. With a robust non-motorized trail system exceeding 400 continuous miles, it's evident that both Park City residents and visitors have a deep affinity for trails. This enthusiasm is reflected in the overwhelming approval of open space and trail projects over the years, to the tune of tens of millions. Park City is also the only gold-level ride center as named by the International Mountain Association, Mountain Biking Association. There's some good mountain biking up there in Park City. That's a good idea. Next time I head up there, I'm going to do some mountain biking. The city's extensive trail network weaves through alpine terrain, mountain resorts, and preserved open spaces. In 2011, Park City Mountain Resort, PCMR, inadvertently failed to renew its decade-long land lease with Talisker Land Holdings for the portion of its ski terrain, largely the land under Canyon's resort. Talisker took the opportunity to look for a new tenant, igniting a 3-year legal battle. In 2014, the court sided with Talisker, and the PCMR had to choose between paying a much higher rent from $150,000 a year to $17.5 million or sell to Vail Resorts. The latter happened, and the rest, well, they say is history. The county's largest resort, the epic lease led to the next fun fact about Park City. It's got the largest ski resort in the country. After the Park City Mountain Canyons merger, the 7,300 skiable acres made it the largest in the United States, which is pretty cool. It's a pretty cool place. Park City is huge, and it's a really fun place to go. So if you go there, you spend some time there, you're going to have some fun. Iconic barn preserved. In 1990, Park City Municipal acquired the historical significant McPullen Farm, spanning 126 acres on both sides of the highway, along with the 88-acre PC Hill from the Osgothrope family. If I'm saying that, Osgothrope family, for the $4.4 million recognized for its historical significance. If you can say Osgothrope, please let me know. The McPullen Farm earned a place in the National Register of Historic Places in 2004. Number 1, but 65% bigger. For 11 consecutive years, Deer Valley has proudly held the number 1 ski resort. Now, it is poised for a groundbreaking expansion as the resort recently unveiled a multifaceted, multi-year growth project promising to breathe new life into Deer Valley with the addition of expansive territory, a cutting-edge base area, modern amenities, and the timeless charm of pristine slopes. The expansion signifies an exciting new chapter for Deer Valley and Park City, an eco-center of growth. What began as a donation of 190 acres in 1993, parcels were added to make up the Swainer Natural Preserve and Eco Center's 1,200 acres of open space land. A 10,000 square foot LEED platinum building, features interactive exhibits about the surrounding environment, while over 10 miles of non-motorized trails provides access. This is a haven for animal of all species, as well as people looking for a natural experience. Heck, let's go check out the Eco Center. There's a bunch of space to go ahead and check out some stuff down there. And a bridge across the Chinatown. Around 1881, Chinese immigrants settled in what is now Swade Valley, the road that runs parallel to Main Street. Despite their contributions to the community as waiters, cooks, porters, and laundry workers, the residents of Rossi Hill constructed a bridge connecting their neighborhood to Main Street to avoid passing through Chinatown. Though the bridge is gone, it was located in the same area as the parking structure that is still known as the China Bridge. The fire of 1898 completely wiped out Chinatown, leading to the residents' departure of many of its residents. That's that dyslexia stuff. The fire of 1898 completely wiped out Chinatown, leading to the departure of many of its residents. So there you go. There's some interesting facts about Park City, and according to Nancy Tallman at InsideParkCityRealEstate.com, 20 facts about Park City. There's just a few of them. Go ahead and check her out at that location there, and https InsideParkCityRealEstate.com, InsideParkCityRealEstate.com, and there's 20 facts about Park City sitting there, written by Nancy Tallman. Go ahead and check it out, guys. Utah's a very neat place. It's an interesting place. There's more than Nancy knows than I can find on the internet. So if you want to go ahead and check it out, there's a whole city waiting for you.
Jim Bridger was a frontiersman, guide, hunter, trapper, and trader who spent time in Utah and Wyoming. He is known for being one of the first white men to see the Great Salt Lake. Bridger was part of the second generation of American mountain men and pathfinders who followed the Lewis and Clark expedition of 1804 through 1806 and became well known for participating in numerous early expeditions into the western interior, as well as mediating between Native American tribes and westward migrating European American settlers. By the end of his life, he had earned a reputation as the foremost explorer and frontiersman of the American Old West. His controversial knowledge of French, Spanish, and several indigenous languages served him well, and his photographic memory allowed him to map almost any part of the Rocky Mountain region from memory. He was described as being at least 6 feet tall, straight as an Indian, muscular, and quick in movement, but not nervous or excitable, in weight probably about 160 pounds, with an eye piercing as an eye of an eagle that seemed to flash fire when narrating an experience. He also had a strong constitution, allowing him to survive the extreme conditions he encountered while exploring the Rocky Mountains from Canada border to what would become southern Colorado. In Utah, he trapped and wintered in the Bighorn region in Cache Valley, mapped the Wasatch Front, and shared his knowledge with Brigham Young. And he was optimistic about the Great Salt Lakes area's potential for a large population. In Wyoming, he established Fort Bridger in 1843 as a fur trading post and a way station for immigrants. He discovered a pass over the Continental Divide that shortened the Oregon Trail about 100 kilometers. Some other accomplishments of Jim Bridger are he traveled up the Missouri River with William H. Ashley and Andrew Henry in 1822. He served as a scout for the U.S. government, guiding expeditions such as the Utah War and the Berthoud Party. And Jim Bridger became a scout in the Indian Wars in the mid to late 1800s. Jim Bridger is an excellent frontiersman guide and scout from the 1800s, and a wonderful story. To learn more about Jim Bridger, check out some of my videos on exploring the American frontier, YouTube. Well, thanks for checking out this video, guys, and I hope you like this video. And if you like this video and videos like this, once again, check out my YouTube channel, Exploring American Frontier. It's on YouTube, and we cover all kinds of fantastical things about Native American, frontiersman history,